Welcome adventurers, your Baldurian XG here with another video. Today, after immersing myself in over 500 hours of gameplay, I'm excited to share my personal ranking of every companion in Baldur's Gate 3. Each character brings something unique to our epic journey, and I'll be diving deep into what makes them stand out or not. So grab your gear, and let's embark on this ranking adventure together. Starting off at number 10 is Minsc and his trusty companion Boo. As a beloved character from the original Baldur's Gate games, I had high hopes for Minsc's return. His larger-than-life personality and quirky humor, especially his endearing relationship with Boo, are iconic. Matt Mercer does an excellent job voicing him, capturing the essence of this classic character. However, in Baldur's Gate 3, Minsc feels more like a late-game cameo than a fully fleshed-out companion. He joins the party midway through Act 3, which doesn't give me much time to build a meaningful connection with him. By this point in the game, I had already established a solid party dynamic with companions I had grown attached to over dozens of hours. Swapping them out for Minsc felt impractical and less rewarding. Moreover, his late arrival means he lacks the character development and screen time that other companions benefit from. While Jaheira, another returning character, is integrated into the story earlier and plays a significant role in Act 2, Minsc's involvement feels peripheral. His questline is brief, and there aren't many opportunities to delve into his backstory or witness any substantial growth. It's also worth noting that Minsc's humor, while nostalgic, doesn't always mesh well with the tone of the game at this stage. His exaggerated antics and catchphrases can feel out of place amidst the more serious and complex narratives unfolding in Act 3. I couldn't shake the feeling that his inclusion was more about fan service than enriching the story or gameplay experience. Additionally, the lack of incentives to change party members late in the game further diminishes his impact. After investing so much time developing strategies and relationships with my existing companions, introducing a new character, even one as iconic as Minsc, felt disruptive. The game doesn't provide sufficient motivation to integrate him into the party, which is a missed opportunity. In the end, while I appreciate the nostalgia and his moments of levity, Minsc doesn't offer enough to justify a higher ranking. His limited screen time, underdeveloped storyline, and late introduction make him the least impactful companion in my playthrough. Coming in at number 9 is Halsin, the gentle druid with a deep connection to nature. Initially, I was excited when Halsin was confirmed as a companion. He seemed like a wise, seasoned figure with a wealth of experience, a character with immense potential for growth. However, the reality of his inclusion left me feeling disappointed. Halsin's involvement peaks during Act 2, where he plays a pivotal role in lifting the Shadow Curse. This setup hinted at a significant story arc, but once his mission is completed, his character development comes to an abrupt halt. His dialogues become sparse, and he doesn't evolve beyond his initial presentation. One of the main issues is that Halsin's character feels disjointed. At times, he shares profound wisdom about nature and balance, but then he makes comments that seem out of character or aren't fully explored. For example, he expresses surprise and disillusionment with city life in Act 3, despite being an experienced druid who should be familiar with urban environments. Additionally, his personal anecdotes and backstory elements are introduced abruptly and lack coherence. Instead of providing depth, they feel like scattered pieces that don't quite fit together. This inconsistency makes it hard to connect with him on a deeper level. The romantic aspect of Halsin's character also feels underdeveloped. Interactions with him can come across as rushed or awkward, lacking the emotional buildup present in other companion relationships. It seems the game focused more on surface-level appeal rather than fostering a meaningful connection. Moreover, his lack of reactivity and minimal quest involvement after Act 2 make him feel like a secondary character, especially when compared to companions like Jaheira or Lae'zel, who continue to evolve throughout the game. Halsin, for all his potential, simply fades into the background, which is a real shame. In summary, Halsin could have been so much more. As it stands, he's less of a dynamic companion and more of a missed opportunity, making him one of the weaker characters in my party. At number 8 is Wyll, the self-proclaimed Blade of Frontiers. Wyll makes a grand entrance, embodying the classic hero archetype by swooping in to save the day and teaching kids how to sword fight. Initially, I was intrigued by his charm and the potential complexities of his character, a warlock who sold his soul to a devil to become a hero. However, as the story unfolds, Wyll's character development feels disappointingly shallow. Despite the dramatic implications of his infernal pact, he doesn't exhibit the internal struggle you'd expect. He often reiterates that making the deal was the best decision of his life, without any significant reckoning with the consequences or moral dilemmas that should accompany such a choice. When Minthara, his patron, transforms him by giving him devilish features, there's surprisingly little impact on his personality or outlook. There's no exploration of how this physical change affects him emotionally or socially, especially considering he's now visibly marked by his infernal ties. His reaction is more about the inconvenience than any deeper reflection. Furthermore, his relationship with his father and the quest to save him lack emotional depth. Wyll seems oddly apathetic about his father's predicament, missing an opportunity to showcase vulnerability or a more complex emotional response. Compared to other companions who grapple with profound personal conflicts, Wyll's storyline doesn't hit as hard. Even his interactions with other characters feel one-dimensional. While his dance scene is charming, it doesn't compensate for the lack of substantial development elsewhere. His unwavering good guy persona comes off as bland, especially in a party filled with morally gray and richly layered characters. In essence, Wyll feels like a character with immense untapped potential. His background as a warlock with noble intentions could have led to a fascinating exploration of sacrifice, identity, and redemption. Unfortunately, without deeper conflict or growth, Wyll doesn't leave a lasting impression, which is why he ranks lower on my list. Now we come to number 7, Minthara. Minthara is absolutely fascinating and complex, but she's also a bit of a mixed bag in terms of her impact on the game. From the moment she joined my party, I was captivated by her commanding presence and unapologetically drow nature. She's not like your typical companion. She stands out for her fierce determination to carve her own path, but this very intensity can be both her greatest strength and her biggest flaw. What really took me by surprise was how, beneath her cold and calculating exterior, there's a subtle vulnerability. She opens up about the burdens and expectations placed on her, which adds an unexpected layer of depth to her character. As you spend more time with her, you start to see the cracks in her armor, making her both pragmatic and oddly endearing at times. That development, while rewarding, can feel a bit rushed or underexplored due to the limited interactions she has compared to other companions. However, recruiting Minthara comes at a significant cost. You have to make tough, darker choices that lock you out of other key companions like Wyll and Karlach. This trade-off doesn't always feel worth it, especially since her personal quest is relatively brief and lacks the depth of other characters. Her storyline feels a little underdeveloped, leaving me wanting more from her. On the flip side, her humor is a delightful surprise. That moment at the circus, where she deadpans a joke about a man marrying a drider with "it was a beautiful webbing," genuinely had me laughing out loud. It's those small moments of levity that really make her stand out. But despite her wit and the complexity of her character, Minthara's late introduction and the sacrifices you have to make to bring her into the party leave her feeling somewhat peripheral. Her potential as a character is immense, but it's not fully realized in the game, which is why, despite how much I love her, she ranks lower on this list. In 6th place is Jaheira, the seasoned druid and voice of wisdom. Jaheira's presence is a nostalgic nod to fans of the original series, and her experience adds gravitas to the party. I admire her strength, resilience, and the no-nonsense attitude she brings to the table. Her insights and guidance are invaluable, especially when navigating the political complexities of Baldur's Gate. One of the reasons for her placement at number 6 is her late introduction into the party. Jaheira becomes available as a companion in Act 2, which means there's less time to build a deep, personal connection with her compared to companions introduced earlier. By the time she joins, I've already established strong bonds with other companions, making it challenging to integrate her without disrupting the existing party dynamics. Additionally, While Jaheira contributes significantly to the main storyline, particularly with her insights into the Harpers and the unfolding political intrigue, her personal character development feels somewhat limited. Unlike companions like Shadowheart or Astarion, who undergo profound personal journeys and transformations, Jaheira serves more as a mentor and guide rather than someone whose personal story evolves alongside the players. Despite these points, Jaheira's strengths are undeniable. Her wisdom, tactical acumen, and steadfast commitment to fighting evil make her an invaluable ally. She often provides crucial advice and perspectives that can influence important decisions. Her interactions are laced with dry humor and a touch of sarcasm, which adds flavor to party dialogues. In conclusion, while Jaheira is a formidable character who enhances the game's narrative and offers a unique perspective, her late arrival and limited personal storyline development place her at number 6 in my ranking. She enriches the experience, especially for fans familiar with her past, but doesn't quite reach the emotional and developmental depths of some of the other companions higher on the list. Breaking into the top 5 is Karlach, the fiery tiefling with a heart of gold. Karlach's exuberant personality and zest for life are absolutely infectious. From the moment she bursts onto the scene, she's a whirlwind of energy and enthusiasm. Her backstory as a former soldier in the Blood War, combined with her mechanical heart, an infernal engine, adds layers of tragedy and intrigue. I connected deeply with her desire to make the most of every moment, given her precarious situation. Her colorful language and fearless approach to challenges make her a joy to have around. She brings a Labrador energy to the party, providing a refreshing contrast to the more brooding or complex companions. However, while Karlach shines as a companion, her storyline feels underdeveloped compared to others. You learn about her past and her motivations, but her personal quest feels somewhat incomplete. While she's motivated by a desire to kill Gortash, that goal aligns with the player's broader objectives, so it doesn't feel unique to her. The lack of a significant character-driven arc, especially in comparison to companions like Lae'zel or Shadowheart, holds her back. It's clear from cut content and fan theories that Karlach's story may have suffered from development constraints, with planned content possibly removed from the game, most notably, the Upper City. Additionally, her fate in Act 3 feels more like a tragic inevitability than something the player can truly influence. There's no happy ending where you can save her from her infernal engine, and while that's powerful in its own right, it also limits the feeling of player agency. I feel like there was potential for a more triumphant resolution for her character, which just didn't materialize in the final version of the game. In summary, Karlach's spirit and charisma firmly secure her spot in my top 5. She's one of the best companions to fight alongside, but her potential feels a bit untapped compared to others who have more fully realized narratives and arcs in Baldur's Gate 3. At number 4 is Lae'zel, the fierce Githyanki warrior. Lae'zel's journey is one of the most compelling arcs in the game. Initially, she comes across as abrasive and dogmatic, fully devoted to the teachings of her people and her queen, Vlaakith. Her unwavering commitment to finding a cure for the tadpole infestation aligns with her duty and honor as a Githyanki. As the story progresses, Lae'zel faces challenges that force her to question everything she believes in. Betrayals and shocking revelations about her people's leaders shake her to the core. Guiding her through this potential crisis of faith and challenging her rigid worldview is a rewarding experience. Your influence can help her grow beyond her initial prejudices, adding depth to her character. I found Lae'zel to be one of the best-written companions in the game, with a rich character arc. Her brash, no-nonsense attitude, coupled with her sharp combat skills, makes her a force to be reckoned with. She's tough to connect with at first, especially due to her aggressive nature, but as you progress and help her navigate the intricate Gith politics, her loyalty and strength become undeniable. Lae'zel starts off as a character many players struggle to like due to her abrasive nature. She's straightforward, violent, and often shows disdain for others. However, her journey through Baldur's Gate 3 is a masterclass in character development. As the game progresses, Lae'zel's blunt exterior starts to crack, revealing more depth and vulnerability than expected. Her evolution from a rigid Githyanki warrior to a more open-minded companion is one of the most rewarding arcs in the game. Her interactions with other party members, particularly with Shadowheart and Karlach, offer moments of humor and conflict that further flesh out her character. Lae'zel's sarcasm and bluntness, while off-putting for some, became a fan favorite for others. Despite her harshness, her unwavering loyalty and commitment to the mission make her a strong ally. Whether you're romancing Lae'zel or simply helping her discover the truth about Vlaakith, she offers one of the most intense, satisfying character arcs in the game. Lae'zel's journey from aggressive warrior to thoughtful ally is a highlight of Baldur's Gate 3, proving she's more than just a Dami-Mami meme. Taking the third spot is Gale, the knowledgeable wizard with a flair for the dramatic. Gale is one of the most complex and layered characters in Baldur's Gate 3. Initially, he might come across as the nice guy stereotype, charming, intelligent, and a little too eager to please. But beneath that exterior lies a man with deep insecurities, a fragile ego, and a past that haunts him. Gale's journey revolves around overcoming his own self-doubt and guilt, primarily stemming from his relationship with Mystra, the goddess of magic. His character arc feels therapeutic in many ways. You guide Gale through self-acceptance, helping him let go of the impossible standards Mystra has placed on him and encouraging him to see his own worth. His desire for validation and the way he internalizes his failures resonate with me, especially as someone who's grappled with similar struggles in life. Throughout the game, Gale's story is one of self-discovery. He starts off as someone who constantly seeks to prove himself, often mentioning his past achievements or his relationship with Mystra. However, as you progress, you can help him realize that his worth doesn't come from the approval of others, whether it's Mystra or his companions. This arc is especially poignant for anyone who identifies with Gale's insecurities. There's a duality to Gale's character. On one hand, he's incredibly powerful, a wizard who was once Mystra's chosen and wielded immense magical abilities. But on the other hand, he's deeply vulnerable. His need to be loved and validated drives many of his decisions, making him one of the more relatable companions. Some might view Gale's desire for power and validation as a manifestation of his inner turmoil, while others might see it as ambition coupled with a fear of being forgotten. His interactions with the player character, particularly if you romance him, reveal even more layers. Gale's romance is filled with tender moments where he opens up about his past mistakes and his desire for a second chance. He's not just looking for love, he's looking for redemption, a way to prove that he's not defined by his failures. However, not all players interpret Gale the same way. Some see his pursuit of the Crown of Karsus, a powerful magical artifact, as a sign of his hubris, his inability to let go of his desire for power. Others view it as a tragic attempt to reclaim the life he lost when Mystra abandoned him. His relationship with Mystra is often seen as toxic, and I feel conflicted about whether to encourage him to reconcile with her or push him toward finding a new path. What makes Gale stand out to me is how well he captures the nuances of insecurity, depression, and the quest for self-worth. Whether you guide him towards redemption or let him fall deeper into his desire for power, Gale's journey is one of the most emotionally charged in the game. Next up, we have Shadowheart. Shadowheart's story is a masterclass in character development. Initially secretive and aloof, she gradually opens up, revealing a complex history intertwined with themes of identity, faith, and choice. As a cleric of Shar, she begins by keeping her true mission and past shrouded in mystery. Her struggle between the teachings of Shar and the possibilities of a different path is captivating. Throughout the journey, I witnessed her grappling with her faith and personal identity, especially as she confronted the teachings of Shar and the memories of her past. The choices she faces are profound, and being part of her journey towards self-discovery was incredibly rewarding. What I loved about Shadowheart's arc is how dynamic it feels. Whether she chooses to stay loyal to Shar or to pursue a new path, her transformation is deeply personal. The emotional weight of her decisions affects not only her, but the entire party dynamic. Her loyalty, once earned, runs deep, and watching her grow from a guarded, secretive cleric to a more open and vulnerable companion is one of the highlights of the game for me. Her personality strikes a perfect balance between sass and vulnerability, making her a relatable and endearing companion. I connected with her struggle to define herself beyond the boundaries of her faith. The internal conflict she faces resonated with me on a personal level, particularly in how she questions her past and what the future holds for her. Whether you encourage her to embrace Shar or guide her toward a different path, Shadowheart's depth and emotional resonance cement her as one of the most captivating characters in the game. Finally, my top choice, Astarion. From our very first encounter, Astarion captivated me with his sharp wit, flamboyant charm, and the underlying hints of something darker. His voice acting is exceptional, bringing nuance and authenticity to every line. As a high elf vampire spawn, he has spent centuries under the cruel control of his master, Cazador. As his backstory unfolds, revealing his vampiric curse and the torment he endured, I became deeply invested in his quest for freedom and self-determination. His personal journey is one of empowerment and self-discovery. I had the opportunity to influence his path, either encouraging him to reclaim his humanity or pushing him toward embracing his darker vampiric powers. For me, one of the most powerful moments in the game is guiding Astarion through his encounter with Cazador. The trauma he's endured under his master's control is palpable, and deciding whether to let him ascend to full vampirism or resist that temptation felt like a monumental choice. Does freedom from oppression mean the right to reclaim your own identity, or does it mean the power to dominate others? The choice you make here doesn't just affect Astarion's outcome, it impacts your understanding of his entire journey. Choosing not to let Astarion ascend and seeing him break down in relief is one of the most emotionally impactful moments I've experienced in gaming. He finally tastes true freedom, and the weight of centuries of torment falls away. It completely changed how I viewed his behavior throughout the game, and made a second playthrough an entirely different experience. Astarion's character arc is one of the best I've ever seen in a game. His growth from a self-serving, manipulative rogue into someone grappling with the trauma of his past and striving for a better future is masterfully written. The layers of his personality peel back slowly, and the emotional journey he takes the player on is unforgettable. And that wraps up my ranking of the Baldur's Gate 3 companions after over 500 hours of gameplay. Each character brings something unique to the adventure, enriching the journey in their own way. From Astarion's captivating complexity to Shadowheart's profound transformation, I've loved getting to know them all. What are your thoughts on the companions? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all things Baldur's Gate 3.